Gabby, I have to start with Aston Villa for you, but I mean, you can ask me about Spurs if you want. Newcastle, pretty good team, very hard to beat at home. But looking at that today, when Unai Emery gets there, has he got the tools to do anything with this Aston Villa squad? Because they look poor today.
Yeah, today looked like an Aston Villa side that, we saw this under Steven Gerrard. They played Chelsea, and deserved to win that game, the chances they had. Then they play the next game and are dreadful. Then they win 4-0 against Brentford. Then today, it's like poor Aston Villa again. Where was that energy from last week, that commitment? And they look like a team that really needs a new manager to come in now and really sort out these players and pick which players he's going to want to keep and which players he wants to move on, because that was a battering today. I've not seen Aston Villa batter like that in a long time.
Well, I don't really want to be beating around the bush, but all I want to say is big things need to change at Villa. We've got rid of the manager, and I'm not really going to dwell much on today's loss because it was, I think it's fair to say, expected. As, Newcastle third in the table, St James's Park was an absolute fortress today, there's no doubt in that. But I just hope now that we've got rid of the manager, we've got Unai Emery in, and I just think we can't dwell on this. There's no messing about. We've got to get straight in with it.
Tom, I think I totally agree. I feel that Unai Emery has to come in now, use the next 2 games to look at his squad of players before the World Cup, and then come January, he needs to get rid of a lot of players and bring in his own players, because the players aren't performing. It's okay at home, isn't it, when Gerrard's been sacked and the fans are all on a fresh start for the players, but to get battered like they did tonight against Newcastle is unacceptable for me.
Exactly, yeah. And I just think we should be counting our lucky stars that we've got Unai. And with this, we can't, I feel this is our last chance to actually do something.
Yeah.
We're talking about, when was it, last season or the season before, talking about potentially fighting for Europe, to get into Europe. I think now is our biggest chance that we have had yet to actually go out and do this. And I just feel one thing that we also need is, now that we've got the manager, the owners, they're going to have to back us. They really are going to have to back us. We've got the manager.
Look, Tom, you and Gabby are both Villa fans. I'm going to ask you both. What about the senior players at Aston Villa? Tyrone Mings, 1 minute is captain, next minute he's not. John McGinn is captain, the next minute he's out of the team. Are they part of the problem, or, as I suspect, they're just being destabilised by Steven Gerrard's decisions?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, but like I said just then about if we're ever going to get into Europe, out of that team, how many players do you see being able to play in Europe? I could probably count about 3. Martinez, yeah, I think that's a given. I'd say
Tom, I got to say to you, worrying about who might play in Europe, the trick is to make sure you stay in the Premier League. Never mind qualifying for Europe, with all due respect, because there's a lot of teams struggling. There's a lot of inconsistent teams at the bottom of the Premier League there. Let's talk to somebody whose team is very, very consistent, unbeaten in 8, and ringing us now on 03717 223344. It's Claire, the Newcastle fan. Evening, Claire.
Good evening, Claire.
Evening, lads. How are you? You all right?
All good, yeah. You?
We're happy enough. You're probably much happier.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's another 3 points, it's another win, it's another clean sheet. And I think it's not just the results, it's the performances that we're putting together. We've never had a team, I go back to when I was going in the 90s under the Keegan era, we've never had a team where we've been able to score goals and keep a clean sheet. It's either been one or the other. And it's just really interesting when you watch the passages of play and the kind of peaks and troughs in the match that happen generally in any game. You can see where they're working for each other. If the first, and they said this on Sky as well during the week on the analysis after the Tottenham game, if one player doesn't get to the ball, there's someone else going to do it for them. And there's always someone there to rely on and to pick up. And it's just exciting. We're all just enjoying our football, which is all this Geordie's always ever wanted to do, is just enjoy our Saturday afternoon.
I think for me, Claire, I actually tweeted earlier saying nothing to worry about, a bit of banter, because I'm a Villa fan, but I knew this would be a tough game for Aston Villa. I mean, St James's Park is a fortress. All the players look confident. Almiron's trying things that he wouldn't tried last season. 2 goals isn't enough. 3 goals isn't enough. They look hungry to score more. They could have beat us 6-7-0 today, and it's looking really bright for Newcastle. A couple of signings in January, and they're definitely in for a top 4 battle.
It's actually crazy, Gabby. It really is how far they've come in just one season, and I think it is testament to Eddie Howe. It's testament to the staff. But the players that we've got that were already there, that weren't doing that, like Almiron, he has no right having those shots on target because he couldn't do it before, and now he's just doing it for fun. And it's just bouncing. It's just brilliant. But I think today for Villa, I think some of the players did let the team down. I think the way Mings clattered in the keeper, I think that maybe changed the game a little bit as well.